So today we are going to cut out our Statue of Liberty that we put tissue paper on last week. The tissue paper is, I've taken it all off. It's left with this beautiful kind of tie-dye look. Sometimes the tissue paper doesn't soak through all the way if we didn't use enough water, and it'll leave these little white spots, but that's okay. I want you to be very careful when you start cutting out your statue, because we don't want to cut off her shoulders or her little spikes on her head. So when you start cutting her out, you have to pay close attention to where the shoulder is, and then I'm not going to keep going because then I'll cut off part of her shoulder. I'm going to cut around all of these parts of her hair, and I'll show you a little trick. When I get up to the spikes, instead of cutting back and forth along the spikes, I am just going to cut into those spikes. So I'm cutting all the way off, and I'm going to turn my paper, and I'm just going to cut this way. So I'm cutting diagonals this way, and then I'm going to cut a diagonal this way, and then it falls right out. So now I just cut a diagonal this way and cut a diagonal this way. And once it's cut, it'll fall right out. That way I don't have to turn my paper like this and try to cut it like that. I can just hold my paper like this and make sure that I get those spikes. Now, as I'm cutting, I'm going to obviously have a lot of scrap papers that are going to need to be recycled, and you're going to be responsible for recycling all of those. This shoulder on this part, a lot of students sometimes will cut these off, these shoulders. So I want to be very careful when I'm cutting that I'm paying close attention. So I'm not really talking too much to my friends because I really got to pay attention or I'm going to cut off her shoulder. I'm going to get down here, and when I get to here, that's where it stops. You can see this is part of her shoulder. So I'm just going to cut from this line where my diagonal line touched my shoulder until I get to here. And now she's all cut out, and I didn't quite finish with the tissue paper on her. But you know what? I did that one correctly. What if I accidentally made a mistake? This one I made a mistake on, and I cut off her shoulder. Whoops, look, her shoulder's not attached. That's okay, because once you've cut out your Statue of Liberty, you're going to get a black piece of paper, you're going to get a pastel, and you're going to write your name on the back, and your teacher's name. Whoever your teacher is. On the front, you're just going to glue your Statue of Liberty right to your black paper. So I can glue her shoulder right next to where she's supposed to be, and you'll never even know that the shoulder was cut off. And that's the same if I cut off, maybe I cut off the crown on accident, maybe I cut off part of her. Once I get the glue, I'm going to put the glue on the back. I'm going to glue down with a glue stick. This glue stick, sometimes you have to get the first layer off to make it really work. It's kind of sticky. I'm going to make sure I get some glue on those spikes. So this part I'm going to glue down first. I'm going to make sure that it touches the bottom of my paper, kind of touches the corners. I'm going to get that glued down so I know where that's supposed to be. All right, that looks good. Now this part, I want to make sure I can fit that there, so I'm just going to take my glue. I'm going to put some glue where that's going to go. I'm going to glue that right next to where it's supposed to go, and problem solved. I don't have to worry about any more of these parts that I accidentally cut off coming off, okay? Make sure everything's glued down really good. If you didn't get these corners, get those corners. Sometimes those spikes aren't glued down. Now you can start adding your fireworks, and I have a picture I'm going to show you all these fireworks. Fireworks are really cool because they start from a center point, and then they have lines that come out from that center point. So you can make your fireworks all different colors. I'm going to make these curved lines kind of coming out from a dot or from a center point. They can overlap, and I think it's really even cool when you use different colors. So this one I'm going to use some red. The white looks really pretty. Sometimes the white pastel hides, but I'm going to put white on top of that orange and that red that I just used. And then I also like to add little dots, kind of making it look like those little white parts that are falling down. The more fireworks you add, the more beautiful these are. The more colors you add, the more beautiful they are. And just like when we did our Vincent van Gogh, you don't have to just use one color oil pastel. You can use lots of different colors of oil pastel. Making these fireworks overlap each other. Like if I want, there's a little bit of space right here, maybe I want another firework kind of like it's overlapping this one. So I'm gonna start from that center point. Remember, it's gonna have a center. I'm gonna overlap that one. Maybe I want a little bit of blue on top of that one. They almost look like spiders. Oops, you see my pastel? It just broke. I didn't do that on purpose. That sometimes happens. Maybe I want little teeny lines coming down from that. When you're finished with your fireworks, you're completely done. You can wash your hands because your hands might be a little bit dirty. This one looks really nice. You can see I've got lots of fireworks in this one. And you can throw away or recycle any scraps that you have left. Put away your scissors. Put your lid on your glue stick. You can wash your hands and you are finished.